Good morning, everyone. It's Jeff Goldberg for the Sales Pro Network. It is Friday, March 4th. We are 1/6 of the way through the year. I hope you're 1/6 of the way to achieving your sales goals. I founded the Sales Pro Network because I'm a sales coach and trainer, and I work with both individuals and organizations to help them get measurable and sustainable sales increases. And the reason for the Sales Pro Network was I wanted a place where people could come and ask questions and get help and get coaching to elevate the profession of sales and mainly to help you make more money. And as you know, every Friday we either do a live interview with somebody who can add value to the profession of sales, or I do a live training. If you are watching live, please do say hello. If you have not connected your Facebook account to StreamYard, or if you're watching us on another platform like LinkedIn, please be sure to put your name in when you say hi. And if you're watching us on the replay, please be sure to put replay in the comments. And if you have any questions for today's guest, I'm sure she'd be happy to take them. And now it's my pleasure. Oh, before I introduce her, I have to say one other thing. If you've been watching for a while, you know that every week and without fail, I wear a black t-shirt. It's kind of my ode to Steve Jobs. But in honor of today's guest, I actually wore a real shirt. And for those of you who haven't seen her before, we did an interview with her, I think about a year ago. It's my pleasure to introduce you to Tavia Sharp. She is a style expert. Good morning, Tavia.
Good morning, Jeff. Thanks for having me back. Happy to be here.
I'm so excited to be speaking with you. We'll get to this later on, but I had the chance to work with Tavia recently, and I'll explain why later. But Tavia, would you just give us a quick background, maybe 2-3 minutes of your history, what got you to the point where you opened your own firm and became a style expert?
Yeah, definitely. So I actually have a background in the fashion industry. So I went to school for fashion design, ended up being a fashion designer in the fashion industry here in New York City. That's where I live. And I worked in menswear. I worked for some pretty big brands like you've probably heard of Calvin Klein and Nautica and Macy's. And I did that for many years. And I knew I wanted to make a change. I wanted to make more of an impact and use my skill set. And so I had founded my first company was actually a fashion line of my own with a business partner. And I did that for several years. And it was pretty successful, but it was a lot of work. And so I thought, okay, let me take a break from this and decide what I want to do next. And I thought, wow, so many people ask me, especially men, were asking me, hey, what's the best jeans to wear? Or I don't know where to find the best brand that works for me. What do I wear to this? Where do I wear to that? And so I kept getting these questions all the time. And I thought, you know what? I think men need help with this. And so I started actually, yes, right. And I started working with clients on the side when I was working at Calvin Klein full time. And I realized, wow, a lot of people need help and guidance when it comes to knowing what looks good on you. And so I decided to make a change and start my business. And here I am 7 years later. And it's really turned into more than just style. I really help people feel more confident and really look the part so they are credible and they build that trust online, especially when they are selling themselves as their own brand. So that's what I do now.
Yes, and I can certainly relate. As I mentioned to you, I need garanimals for adults. So, spending time with you it was really miraculous, and we'll get into that more later. Good morning, Keith Ginsburg. It's good to see you, my friend. Good morning, Dr. Rich Atkins from Improving Communications. Good to see you, and good morning to somebody who's calling themselves Guess Who's Zippity Doo. Glad to see you too, whoever that is. Tavia, you say that your image is currency. What does that mean, and how do you help people create their most profitable image?
That's a great question. Well, I believe that our first impression is visual, which is facts. If you look it up, the statistics will tell you that it's only 7% of what we say. Everything else is visual. It's how we look, it's our body language, it's the way we communicate and express ourselves. So when we think about image, it's not just style and appearance, but it's how do you want to be perceived? So it's the perception that people have in their mind. Do they believe that you are credible, trustworthy, and do they want to give you their money? So if you're either, I always say you're either selling or unselling yourself at all times. So you choose which one do you want to be? You want to be selling yourself, then you have to think about how you're showing up in the world, especially in the digital world. And so what I do is I help my clients create their most profitable image by helping them boost their confidence, their credibility, and their connections so they can really start to magnetize these opportunities, clients, sales, dates. It's how we show up in the world, and especially in the digital world nowadays.
Got it. Good morning, Don Levine. Thank you for joining us today. Um, so, salespeople, we use our brain and our mouth to help people choose to do business with us. Why do you think it matters that we have to look the part when it comes to selling?
Yeah, I think you do because, like I said, that visual is that first impression. So you got to start there. You have to build this, image of how you want to be perceived. And people do think and not always say to you what they're thinking, right? But they're thinking something. So and sometimes it's just like that quick judgment, right? We judge a book by its cover, no matter how much we want to say, don't judge a book by its cover. We do. It's innate. It's a psychological thing that everybody does. It's based on past experiences, and it's a snap decision that we all make. And so if you're already leading and putting your best foot forward, then you can remove all of that distraction that people might be thinking of. Oh, does this person look like what I thought they did? Let's remove that. Let's just create that like impactful first impression so that we can, whatever we say is really congruent with the message that we want to share.
Yeah, that brings to mind for me. Years ago, I went on a job interview and I had to take one of those emotional tests, and giving answers to all kinds of stuff. And the manager who's looking to hire me or evaluating me is looking over my results. And I'm pretty sure at the time I was wearing a Swatch watch. And the guy said to me, "Now, look, I don't think I've ever looked horrible in a suit. I may not have had, $10,000 suits, but I always looked okay, I thought." But he looked at me and he said, "What's that on your wrist?" I said, "It's a watch." He goes, "What kind of watch?" I said, "It's a Swatch watch." He goes, "That's not going to work. You got to go get a Rolex." I said, "I need a job. I can't afford a Rolex." He goes, "We'll get you on a knockoff that has two L's in it, but you got to look the part because people are judging you. People are judging your level of success based on how you look to them, and people want to deal with successful people. So whether we like it or not, should it be that way? Should not. But is it that way? 100%. People do judge us instantaneously based on what we look like.
Mm-hmm.
Besides clothing, and I expressed to you how I feel about this, but I'd like to get your take. How important is it for a man or a woman to have a good hairstyle, nails manicured, or is it just the clothing that really makes the person?
I think it's top to toe. I think it's really how you look from top to toe. It's really that full image and appearance. It's not just our clothes, but like, because what if we were dressed really well, but our hair was a mess, or we didn't, really present ourselves in the best way as far as grooming. I always talk to my clients about the grooming piece as well, especially because a lot of men, you are not, Jeff, but a lot of my clients like to wear beards. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is totally fine. That's your choice, right? And they're way more acceptable nowadays, I think, even before the pandemic. But how are you grooming it? Is it unkempt, or is it really, groomed? And it's like, because it's your face. I mean, especially on the Zoom, right? Or even us, right? All we see is this us in this little box. So how are you, taking care of your face, your hair? For women, it may be putting on a little bit of makeup. I don't even wear a lot of makeup, but just a little bit goes a long way. Like maybe a lip color, jewelry. I always talk about eyewear. You and I talked about your eyewear,
Got
right?
new glasses.
Because it's an accessorized, it frames your face. People are looking at you, in this little square. So it's really important top to toe. When we're at home, I guess we don't really need to wear shoes, but when we go out, shoes are important. I still think people look at that, especially old school people really look at your shoes, say, wow, are they taking care of them? Or are they all scuffed up and like worn out? I do believe people look at the details, and they may not say it, but they're thinking. Hmm.
Yeah, I absolutely do. I already shared with you, that if I'm going out with a woman, I'm looking at her nails, and I also
Yes.
look at men's shoes. Are they shined? Are the heels run down? It says something about the person. If the front of your shoes are shined up nice, but the rear aren't, then when you're walking out, they're still making a judgment call about you.
Yes, I do have a story about nails. That is it's a sales thing. When I was working at Calvin Klein, we used to have people come in and they would sell us these trend forecasting books. And there was a group of us, the designers were sitting around, and these books are very expensive. Okay. This is not a cheap service. And we meet with the different sales representatives that are selling this service. And this woman came in and she presented the book, and the book is very beautiful. They spent a long time working on these, right? Putting them together. And everyone after she left, all we could talk about is how unkempt her nails were. They
Wow.
were all chipped, just like, they just were very distracting. And so guess what? We didn't buy that trend book. We bought somebody else's because we're so distracted looking at her nails. We weren't paying attention to the product that she's selling, especially if you're actually, using your hands to sell a product. Why would you not take care of the one thing that people are going to see the most, right? So little things like that, we didn't say it to her face, but we said it after, and then we didn't buy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's the little thing. It's the little tiny details. It's just like I always say, one word can be the difference between closing a deal and not. And one little thing could make the difference
Yes.
too. Whether
Mhm.
people are conscious of it or not, they're still making that decision based on all the criteria.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Turns out, guess who zippity doo is? Larry, the phone guy. Good to see you, Larry, who says he's got a new product. Okay, good. And it's going to
Mm.
be zippity doo. Okay. Martin Nayesh, I hope I pronounce it. Nayahasha says, good point, trailblazing no matter what. Let's see. Somebody's asking a question. Oh, I have to cancel that first. Can you use the argument if they're judging me on this criteria, then they're not my customer? Well, I have an opinion on that, but
Mm.
what do you say?
That's a good question. I just think, like, why would you not put your best foot forward? I mean, yeah, we could argue that, but and I think I want to say, like, when we're talking about style and appearance, Jeff and I talk about this all the time. We're not saying that you have to like put on that, like, you don't have to get super dressed up and wear, a three-piece suit and a tie. It's not that. It's looking put together, looking, just making sure you're putting in the effort. That's what we're saying, to communicate that I'm putting this extra foot forward to present myself in the best way possible. So the grooming, the making sure my fit is on point, am I looking professional? Am I looking polished? It's not about, let's go buy a three-piece suit and a tie, because no, that's not what that's what I tell my clients, at least. Mhm.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I was surprised about when I worked with you. Um, I don't ever want to wear a tie again unless I absolutely positively have to. And you didn't force me to do anything. You actually took the time to find out, what do I want and what makes me comfortable. And then you worked within those guidelines to make me look better, which was really great.
Mhm.
Dr. Rich, I believe this was you who asked this question. Yes, you could certainly make the argument that if they're judging you on that criteria, then they're not your customer. But my question would be, why would you want to let having some clothes that make you look and feel better get in the way of working with somebody if they don't have to? I hope that was helpful. Good morning, Fran Cole Hevler down in Texas. Ben Gibbs, happy Friday to you too. I want to show you something because I came across it this morning. Let's see if I can quickly share my screen and get you where I want to go. Yeah, here it is. Perfect. So when I was, thinking about questions to speak about with you this morning, I happened to be on LinkedIn. I was looking at your profile and other things, and I came across a guy's profile. I'm not sure. Do you know what an EOS implementation person is?
No.
EOS is a system that gets used in corporations. An EOS implementer is somebody who's highly trained to come in and teach that system to a corporation. It helps them be more successful in a number of ways. Really cool stuff. And I just happened to come across a profile of an EOS implementer, and I wanted to get your opinion on
Mhm.
what your judgment is about this guy's picture.
Mm.
So this
So
guy's going to be working with business owners.
yeah, the thing that I noticed first off is that he's looking not in the camera, right? He's looking to the side. I only see the side profile. So it's hard for me to like be like, who is he, and connect with him. And by the time he is meeting with somebody, we're like, is that the same person? I don't know. There's nothing about this photo that tells me, oh, this is the person I have to connect with. It's not like especially because the LinkedIn photos are so teeny tiny. You have to be front facing, you have to look in the camera, and it really is just your face directly in the camera so we know who you are and we can easily connect with you outside of this platform. That's what would be my first thing. The hat is like, he looks cool, right? He looks fashionable, but he doesn't look super professional. Um, so it's I think this is more of a social picture photo, for something else, not for LinkedIn. You got to have a professional photo for LinkedIn. Even if you're not wearing a suit and tie, you got to look professional, especially because he has to be relatable to the people that he's meeting with. So he needs to step up his look to be more professional. Wear a jacket, wear a button-down shirt, take off the hat, look forward facing.
Yeah, that was my thinking exactly. I didn't really, it didn't occur to me the forward facing thing, although now that you mention it, it makes perfect sense. But he does look cool. That was the word that came to mind. This guy looks cool. And as you already know, because you know me a bit now, I love t-shirts and I love jeans and I want to hang out and all that. But when somebody's going to hand over a bunch of money and the responsibility for taking their company into the future in a professional way, I'm not sure that I would work with this guy, even though that's the way I like to dress too, because I do have it in my brain that I want to work with somebody who knows what they're talking about. And this guy may or may not. His clothing is not telling me he knows what he's talking about. And
Yes.
even though I know I shouldn't be thinking that way, because this guy could be the most professional and amazing EOS implementer in the world, my brain is saying, I'm not so sure.
So think about all the missed opportunities, right? Because people are going to the LinkedIn profile and thinking that, and then they don't even, they're just swiping like, oh, next, like a dating app. Next, I'm just going to go to the next guy. They're not even giving this guy a chance. So guess what? He has to work extra hard to get those opportunities. So that's why my approach is like, let's remove all that hard, extra steps. Let's make it easy for people to go, I want to connect with him. Boom. That's
Yeah.
all. And he probably doesn't even know all the money that he's leaving on the table because he's not done this one thing.
Yep. And Mitch Tobel, who's a dear friend and my go-to guy for all marketing, says Tavia is definitely styled sharp.
Yes.
Also pointed out he's got a t-shirt on, and that Mitch
Yes.
said that he looks a bit narcissistic. So those are all things that we don't want to be having people thinking when they're considering doing business with us. And I'm guessing that like me, most people, before they're going to have a conversation with somebody, first place they're going is the LinkedIn profile to check it out and see what's going on. And I personally would not have would not want to meet with this guy to give him a chance. I would find there's too much competition. If he was the only guy in the world, of course I'd speak with him. But there's too much competition, and if the competition looks better, they're going to have a better chance of getting to me.
Yes.
Not always, but typically salespeople are highly confident people. They've got to come across with confidence. If you're already a confident person, why do you think stepping up your style game is still important?
I really think it's just like what we talked about, because what happens now, we've been 2+ years working in a pandemic. We are working digitally. We're online now more than ever it was before. We have to be like really putting our best foot forward online. So that's number one, because people are looking us up. They're checking us out. When they Google you, what do they find? It is those things that we have to pay attention to. The photos that come up, the websites that come up, our LinkedIn profiles, all these places where people are seeing us. We have to put that best foot forward, because if we don't, they're just, like I said, going to swipe by. You're not even going to get the opportunity to connect with a potential client or business that wants to hire you. So that's number one. And I would say it really matters. And I know you're going to share your experience as well, because we have to be thinking about our videos, our visibility, our social media presence. How are we showing up on our Zoom calls? Like, when we are in a competitive industry, especially, how are you standing out? What makes you different than this other person that they could be hiring? You have to differentiate yourself. And for me, is what I tell my clients, is that you have to build your own brand. Like, and an easy way to do that is through your style and appearance, because you start to become recognizable when you build your appearance into your branding. Because if you're selling you and you're the client facing professional, then that's what people start to recognize over and over again. And it's those memories that people go, it's the touch points, right? So it's how you show up on a Zoom call, how you show up in your visual presentation, how do you show up on your LinkedIn. Once you connect the dots with the congruency and how you look, people start to recognize you as the face of the brand. It's psychological, really.
Yeah, and I'm betting that right now my good friend Mitch, the marketing guy, Tobel, is going like this right now, because it sounds to me like what you're talking about is consistent brand image. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Just like you have a company brand, but when you're selling something, even if you work for a company, you're still selling you, especially in a competitive industry where, like you said, that guy that we looked at his LinkedIn profile. I mean, if there's other people that do what he does, what makes him stand out? What differentiates him? And maybe he thought that side profile photo was the thing. You don't know what he was thinking, but I just think like you have to brand yourself, and the visual cues of what you wear is an easy and simple way to do that. It's so simple that people are skipping over that thing that's like, it's you. You have to dress every day. We didn't show up on this call naked, did we? We put clothes on. So if you have to put clothes on anyway, you might as well wear clothes that become your part of your brand.
Yep, absolutely. And Mitch is saying, Mitch was going, yes, yes, yes. He says every brand touch point matters. And I think that's exactly what you're saying. Larry Weiss said, I usually show up in jeans and a polo shirt because I usually end up crawling through a basement, closets, and or under desks as I help customers determine their needs. However, I do let potential customers know beforehand that I'll be dressed that way, and I ask if they're okay with it. Is that okay by you? Because Larry is crawling under desks and looking at wiring and all kinds of stuff like that. So as long as you let the customer know, I might be crawling under a desk, and is it okay if I come in jeans and a t-shirt? That's still okay?
I think so. And Larry, what I would say for you, since that's what you do. What do you wear a logo polo? Do you wear something that has your branding on it? So it's psychologically people are seeing that, and it becomes memorable in their minds. Like even if you don't even realize, like it's just something small, it does make a difference. Just that little hint of branding, or maybe it's a particular color of polo that you wear all the time. I would definitely add your logo and your brand. Okay, usually a logo. Great.
And Larry, by the way, is a memorable guy anyways, but every little thing does count. When I was looking through some of your posts on LinkedIn, I came across a picture of Daniel Craig as James Bond. Ever since I was a little kid and saw my first James Bond movie with the real James Bond, Sean Connery, I still remember to this day, and must have been 50 years ago or more, him. I don't know if you ever saw From Russia with Love, which was the first one I ever saw, but he's in a scuba outfit, and he gets out of the water and he takes off his scuba outfit, and underneath he's in an immaculate white tuxedo. And I was like, wow, that's the way I want to look one day. And you had a picture of Daniel Craig, who I think is the only Bond since Sean Connery to do a good job. How does one get James Bond level magnetism? Because I definitely don't look like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's some of the things that I teach my clients. It's more than, our style and appearance, which obviously that's the one thing about James Bond as a brand, I would say, because no matter who played James Bond, there was that brand image that was always portrayed, right? But I think it's his confidence, his charisma, also his thinking, right? Like he's very focused on the end goal and really stays the course with that. Yes, it's the way he puts his best foot forward, the way it shows up, right? People see him as this magnetic man, and you can't help but be drawn to him. And that's the character, right? But you can also think about it as branding. It's like no matter who played him, they had to have all of those pieces. He fits a consistent brand image. That's why men were drawn to him, women were drawn to him, right? It's the brand. It's how this character is portrayed. But if we apply it to our own business and our own brand, what is that consistency that you can build in the way that you look, in the way that you act, in the way that you present yourself? in all these different ways, right?
Yeah. While I have plenty of self doubt, I consider myself a pretty confident guy. But I think if I knew how to kill people and I had a license to kill, I'd be even more confident. So he has a little advantage there. Plus, he works out
Right.
like a bandit and
Right. Yeah.
but I get
That
what you're
too.
saying.
Hmm.
We've had Dr. Rich Atkins, who's actually inviting you to take a look at his LinkedIn profile picture and give your opinion. So let's take a look and see if I can share that with you. Are you able to see Rich's profile?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's him on a motorcycle.
Okay.
Rich is a professional speaker and trainer like myself.
Hmm.
Really, really smart guy. Very, very good at what he does. What would you say about this one?
Well, the only thing is I totally understand why you used it, because it's like you're kind of giving yourself like, oh, a hint of who you are, right? That you like motorcycles, that you ride motorcycles, and that's your interest. And I do like that. However, just remember that people are going to LinkedIn to connect with you, right? So the way we connect with people is like by showing them who we are, right? Visually. So it's just that first, touch point. So it's hard for me to see your face is what I'm trying to say. So it's not that I don't like the motorcycle, but perhaps what you could do is you actually do have a headshot of you in the little circle, and then maybe your banner is where you show yourself on a motorcycle or something related to, you know, motorcycles in the banner. That's where you could do the branding piece, but you should have your headshot in the circle so people can have that first connection touch point.
Got it. Yeah. To me, and you're the expert, but that's more of a Facebook picture. It's cool.
Yes.
It's
Right.
ultimately cool. I mean, especially when you realize that he doesn't have his kickstand down. He's actually in motion. I believe he had a professional photographer take that
That's
for him.
awesome.
It's
Yeah.
super cool. And I know Rich
Mhm,
travels all over the world with his motorcycle and
mhm.
takes amazing trips. He's got very cool stories. Rich is a guy you definitely want to go out to dinner with. He's got some very
Oh,
cool stories, but
awesome.
I'm not sure that it's the image that I want to see when I'm thinking of hiring somebody to train my team to
Right.
communicate more effectively.
Right.
And
Right.
Mitch is asking, does he sell motorcycles?
Mm.
If that was
Good
the case, that would be
point.
a great picture then.
Yeah, good point. Mhm.
So, so having been through one of your programs, I have an understanding. But for those of us who have not worked with you, how do you work with your clients? What is your actual process?
Yeah. Well, it really depends on the goal of the clients, but if they really are looking to step up their professional brand, then they can go through my profitable image formula. And it really is 5 phases. Number one, we create, where do you want to see yourself in 6 months to a year? We have to do some goal setting around that. We have to create that visual impact of that next level you, because I believe in order to start to attract those next level opportunities, you have to step into that. So we have to get clear about what that is. And then number two, we create your secret weapon style. That's what I call it. And we really work on overhauling your style top to toe. I review your wardrobe. I give you a style blueprint that has everything you need in it: color, style, brands, fit, the items that fit your brand. And then we go shopping. So we spend the day, we shop, and I style all your looks for all of your wearing occasions, your events. And then we do a photo shoot. So we capture your new brand, your new look, and you can use those photos for your branding, your website, your social media, headshots, LinkedIn, wherever, your dating profiles. I've had clients use them for that, whatever your goals are. And then we move into really making sure you're presenting yourself in the best way possible. So we're going to overhaul all of your social and professional profiles: LinkedIn, Google, wherever it is that you're showing yourself or you're putting yourself out there so that people can start reaching out to you and connecting with you, right? So we want to make sure they all are consistent and congruent. I even have a copywriter that helps with that. And the last piece is about visibility. So, how are you showing up now in this virtual world? How are you showing up on Zoom? How are you showing up in your recorded videos? Which Jeff, we could talk about what you did. Are you putting your best foot out there in those ways? Like, how are you showing up visibly in this online world? And sometimes that's my kind of big program. It's a 3-month program, but like Jeff will explain, we really focused on the style and appearance piece, which many people come to me for that as well. Mhm.
Yeah. So what Tavia is talking about is I contacted Tavia because I was going into the studio to record sales training videos, which are going to be available to the public sometime in the next quarter. I went into the studio for the first session 2 weeks ago, and I'm going back next week to record the second session. And in thinking about it, I was thinking, you know what? I look okay, but I don't know that I look great. And I had a particular look in mind. And I actually sent Tavia a picture of this guy's wearing the kind of shirt I want to wear. And he's got the look I want to have and blah, blah, blah. And God damn, if she didn't take me to exactly what I wanted. Now, it wasn't really important to me that I got what I wanted, because I really do have an opinion of myself that I'm not really good at dressing and I do need grow animals for adults. But I just wanted to give Tavia an idea, and she was able to, you were able to just get it completely. The other thing that was truly revelatory for me, and I posted this online, but I used to say that I hate shopping for clothes, just despise it. And after working with you for a day, I realized I don't despise it. What I was feeling was a deep sense of frustration, because every single time I would go shopping with the best of intention, I need some new shirts, or I need some pants, or I need whatever it was, I'd walk around and look at everything and go, I don't have a clue. I hate that I'm standing here. I don't want to try anything on. When I do, I don't know if it looks good on me. I actually bought a pair of jeans before we worked together, and had to come out of the fitting room and go to one of the ladies at the counter and say, "Do these look good on me or not?" Because I don't have a clue. And you made it so easy. I'm sure I'm not the first person to say this to you, but all I had to do was sit in a very comfortable dressing room, and you and the professional shoppers were just bringing stuff. Try this on, try that on. And it was, I won't quite say fun, like it was my greatest day ever, but it was very enjoyable because I didn't really have to work at it. And there was just no frustration. The other thing that was surprising to me was when I said I didn't like something, it didn't matter that you had picked it out and you probably knew it would look good on me. You were just like, no problem. Let's find something you do like. You didn't force me into anything. And you absolutely could have. Tavia, at any point, if you had said, no, you absolutely have to buy this, I would have done it because I trust you implicitly. But you didn't do that to me. You kept working with me until I both looked good in your eyes and my eyes and was comfortable with what I was doing. Any particular reason that it's important to me? I mean, I know for me why it was, but why is it important to me to be comfortable with it? Because you're the expert in the style.
Because when we put on clothing that makes us feel comfortable and that makes us feel good, there's been many, many studies on this, there's a psychological thing that happens. And that's the ripple effect that I want people to create for themselves. When you put something on that you're like, wow, like I look good in this, I feel good in this, that energy goes out into the world and you just show up in a more impactful and powerful way. It's just the facts. So I wouldn't want you to put on something where you're like, oh, it's okay, but like I'm forcing you to wear it. And sometimes I push my clients a little bit, because when sometimes I can tell that they aren't used to something. That's different versus I just don't like this, I'm not going to wear it. That's different. I want you to be like, wow, this is new. Like, okay. And we have to work with that, but you have to put it on. You have to feel it. And when you do, you shift your energy in a way that is just it radiates it into the world. I really believe that. You look good, you feel good, and then that's what people see and they feel it.
Yeah, and you actually styled three different types of outfits for me. One was for the videos that I'm shooting. One was for professional wear when I'm training, and one was for when I'm doing stand-up comedy. Three really completely different looks. And yesterday, for the first time, I had the opportunity to put on the professional outfit. And I have to tell you that as I was getting dressed, there was none of, does this go together? Am I going to look, excuse me, am I going to look okay? It was like, it looked great in the store. Tavia picked it out. I know I'm going to look good. And while I never, ever have a lack of confidence in what I'm saying to an audience, I did feel like if people were looking at me and judging what I'm wearing, which I'm assuming they do just like I do, that I was like, I'll bet people like the way I'm looking today for the first time maybe ever. So it really did feel good that I not only felt comfortable in the clothing, but I felt like I was looking my best. And more than one person actually commented, oh, you look better than usual today. So clearly it was working.
Wow.
It's tough to not take some of that as an insult. Actually, somebody reached out to me after I was pretty exuberant after you and I spent the day together. And a woman who I who does what you do, who I know, said, "Oh,
Mhm.
why didn't you call me?" And
Uh-huh.
she said, "By the way, Jeff, I don't mean to be insulting, but you do usually look just okay at best."
Oh,
So
wow.
it, very, very happy that I can look better than okay at best with your help. Um, Now,
You're
something
welcome.
that I don't know if this is true for everybody that you work with, but my question is it better to have a lot of different types of clothing that you can wear in any, with a lot of variety, but you're going to spend less on each item because you want to have a lot of stuff? Or is it better to buy a few quality pieces that are more expensive, but maybe worth are expensive clothes worth the extra money?
It just depends. I mean, there's a lot of factors that come into play when I am choosing and selecting items for my clients, but I tend to try to help them find the best that possible. Like, for example, what I do is I like to build a capsule wardrobe. So you can really mix and match the items that we're going to get. So if you're going to buy that one key suit, or maybe for somebody they don't need a suit, it's a blazer or a sport coat, does that sport coat or blazer go with all these different wearing occasions? That's for me to figure out, because I need to know, where are you going every day? What is your lifestyle? Is it dating? Is it professional? We got to focus it. And so I build somebody's wardrobe around that. So I call that a capsule wardrobe. So that's number one. And number two, as far as like the items and the the quality and how much you should spend, I do think you should buy investment pieces where needed. So if you only need one really good suit, don't be cheap about it. Buy one that's a little bit more, it's good quality, because it's going to last you. Menswear doesn't go out of style very quickly when you buy classic pieces, when you buy things that are not super trendy, not flashy, that are going to go out of style. That's why I don't believe in trends and super stylish things unless my client wants that for whatever reason. But I like to help people buy things that are going to last them for a while. So I do believe you should spend a little bit more on certain pieces like suits, jackets, outerwear, shoes, leather shoes, And look, some of my clients say, look, this is the budget I got to work with. And I say, okay, I'll make it work. But if it's somebody who says, hey, can you give me guidance on how much I should spend? Then I usually guide them to that. Like, spend it on these investment pieces, and everything else, you can, just spend a little bit less and then change it up every other season.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I like was you actually asked me in advance, what's your budget?
Mhm.
Would you feel comfortable investing on clothes? And the cool thing was you went way under budget, which I
Mhm.
didn't expect. I figured at the end of the day, you were going to get me to spend more than I wanted to. And the other thing is, I definitely spent more money on each piece of clothing than I've ever spent in my life for any piece of clothing. I've never bought a shirt that cost this much, or any
Mhm.
of the other items that we bought, but they're all worth it. You know, I wear a black T-shirt every week, and up until 2 weeks ago, they were from the Gap. They cost $20. Well,
Mhm.
I don't remember the name brand that you turned me on to, but we bought $80 T-shirts. They
Yeah.
definitely look vastly different. There's a huge difference in the look and the feel of an $80
Mhm.
T-shirt as opposed to a $20 T-shirt. And I've already washed the $80 ones a couple of times. They're not breaking down immediately like that $20 Gap T-shirt does, and all
Right.
these other things. So to me,
Mhm.
while maybe it's because I grew up very poor, single mom, no money. She always had to watch every penny. That I kind of learned to do that too, even though I
Mhm.
make a nice living. It just never occurred to me to. I don't want to give out numbers, but to spend that much money on a shirt, or that much money on sneakers. We bought some high top sneakers for my comedy. It
Yes.
never occurred to me. I buy expensive sneakers to wear, but nothing like that. But it's worth it, I think, to have the quality and the look and the feel, because it's going to last longer and it does look better. And if we're agreeing, and you and I certainly do, that people are judging us based on the way we look, I think it's better to have a few more expensive pieces that are going to last longer and look better than the cheaper
Mhm.
stuff that you have to replace all the time.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. Mhm.
Clearly, working with a stylist like you involves a financial investment, but you also say that it can save you time and money. How is that?
Mhm. Well, I think we've talked
I mean,
about the
I know
time.
because it does, but
Time, like you said, you're just like spinning your wheels. You don't know where to shop, what fits you. A lot of times what I hear from people is, wow, I've spent so much time trying to figure this out on my own that you just spent one day with me and I would have walked away with maybe one item and we walked away with the whole new seasonal wardrobe. Like, to me, that saves a lot of time because one, like half a day and you get it done, right? So that's time. Especially, I like to say I save people from decision fatigue because you're just trying to figure out what you need. And that is all up here and it's exhausting. And you're using all this brain power to try to figure it out. Why wouldn't you have an expert do it? You probably have an expert do your taxes. You probably have an expert do any kind of contractual work, like a lawyer, right? Those people are saving you time. And yes, it is an investment, but you know, at the end of the day, it's worth it because you try to do this stuff on your own and it's not going to come out quite right, or maybe not the right thing to do, right? For your business. Money. I think we talked about that too. I often hear that, wow, I spent all this money on these clothes where I wasn't super happy with it. I don't even love this item. It's just hanging in my closet, or I've been wearing this thing that isn't quite right. And I keep buying things that are like, they keep trying to find that perfect shirt and they've spent all of this money on all these different brands to try it out. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just hire somebody that knows exactly what brand you need, exactly what fits you well, and can tell you right there on the spot? So you only need one, you don't need 10. And then I give that guidance, like, how many of this do you need? I'm there to tell you and then show you how to really leverage that one item. I always say with my clients, like, I want you to be able to wear this one item at least 3 ways. That's pretty versatile. Not a one-time thing, not just this one outfit, but the jacket that you and I bought together, you can wear that definitely at least 3 ways. That really maximizes the use out of it. So that is always my goal, to save you time and money.
Well, plus, some of the stores we went to together, you actually have an arrangement with them where, you get a discount, or I was able to get a discount through you. I know that, look, I guess because my name is Goldberg and I'm Jewish, as we were looking at things, I'm adding them up and go, oh, that's going to be a lot of money. And at that first place we went, Bonobos, it was like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, nice discount. Thank you, Tavia.
Yes.
Yeah, so it really did end up being both time and money. And to me, look, I like saving money as much as the next person. I don't mind spending or investing because I actually enjoy getting new things. But it was the frustration saving, like you talked about. It's the walking in and spending hours and hours and walking out with one thing or nothing and just being, oh, I hate doing this, as opposed to this was almost effortless. All I had to do was sit there and drink water as people brought me nice clothes to try on. It's terrific. You talked a little bit about this before. How do you build a congruent personal and professional brand online?
So, it's really about how do you want to show up? And you really have to ask yourself, like, how do I want people to see me? It's that image that we want to portray. Just like I would say, sportscasters do it, right? People on ESPN that you see talking about, the plays, right? They have a look and they're pretty congruent with their look. So that's not an accident. They have somebody that helps them with that, or even celebrities, right? So I always say to my clients, like, is there some kind of person out there, that is it a celebrity? Is it a sports person? Is it an influencer that has a consistent look that you would like to say, hey, I really like the way that person looks and dresses and shows up? That's where we start, right? And then we build from there. So it's everything from, your branding, your business branding, your logo, down to you showing up in alignment with that brand. Like, I remember, couple of my clients, Jeff knows, they actually wanted to get branding photography done, right? So we started with their style, and I even, down to the socks, thought about how can we brand you in your actual attire. And I found socks for both of them that is exactly their branding color and it matched their logo. And I thought, what a cool way to incorporate your brand. And it just makes you more memorable because whenever you wear, because they told me when they present, they take their shoes off. and you can see their socks because they're relaxed, like they're presenting all day on their virtual, live. And I said, that's a great way to show like, hey, we're part of our brand and we're a team. And then we got our branding colors on our feet. Like it just was fun, things like that maybe you don't think of. And just really remembering that you are the face of your brand. So you have to build that consistent and congruent look. I would also say making sure that, like I've said it a couple times today, that consistency online. So when people Google you, do they see that you're consistent on all these different platforms, LinkedIn, all the way to your, Instagram, to your Google business profile. All these things matter, your photos, how you're showing up, making sure you have that like online reputation is on point because people are checking us out online. And that's just how they're finding us these days now. It doesn't matter if it's on our website or our LinkedIn profile, but we got to make sure there's congruency on all these different touch points.
And you don't just work on fashion, you actually work on that whole thing, don't you?
Yes.
With the
Yeah,
clients you're
that's
working with.
yes, that's in my profitable image formula. So a lot of people want more than just their style and appearance, but they want to build that congruent brand across all their platforms. Mhm.
Okay. Now, I think you just spoke about this a couple of moments ago, but I want to make sure I understand. Fashion seems to change not quite as quickly as computers do, but pretty damn quickly. There's always a new
Mhm.
fashion coming out, and there's always, what the influencers are wearing, and it changes by the season. How important is it to keep up with the latest trend, or is it really to go with what makes you feel right? For example, I think I shared with you that when I bought my tuxedo, the salesperson tried desperately to talk me out of a shawl collar, said it's not in fashion, it's old style, you don't want to wear that. I'm like, but I like it. And that's
Mhm.
what I ended up buying because that's what I like. So how important is keeping up with fashion as opposed to what makes you feel comfortable, what you personally like?
Yeah, well, I do believe, it's a little bit easier with menswear because with menswear, we can go with the classics and there are specific looks that don't really go out of style or that aren't super trendy. What becomes trendy, especially in menswear, is color and pattern and fit sometimes, styles. But really, the classics will always remain. And for me, what's most important for my clients is that they have a signature look that fits them, that they feel good in, that's authentic to them, that fits their personality because style is an extension of who you are, and that they are wearing the right fit. Because if our fit is on point, automatically you look like $1,000,000. I don't care how much money you spend on your clothes, but if they fit you well, that's what helps you really look on point. So to me, those things matter a lot more than styles and trends that are just gonna go out of style next season. Now, it's not to say that we can't buy a couple of those things, if they're fun pieces that we want to incorporate. But if I'm starting with a client, we always got to build the foundation first. You got to have the basics. You got to have really key pieces that build the foundation of your wardrobe, and then we can add on those kind of funner, more stylish pieces at some point.
Got it. Now, I know you work one-on-one with clients, but you've also been doing a lot of traveling recently and some speaking. What do you do? I know you were in Puerto Rico. I think you were down in Texas. What are you doing
Mhm.
when you're out there speaking?
Yeah, so I do training and workshops around how to create your brand image online. So everything from style and appearance, top to toe, how we put our best foot forward in person to the online part. And so I was teaching most recently to doctors who have their own practice how to build their brand and create a more profitable image and show up very influential online. So I was training them on how to, really make sure they had the most polished LinkedIn profiles with the banner to the photo to making sure that their messaging is on point. Even Google My Business, I talk a lot about. So it is a little bit of marketing, but more from the perspective of the image piece and our photos and everything, or even our videos. Like, how can you use these tools to sell yourself online? And so that's what my trainings are about. In Texas, I was styling for a program. I got hired along with another image consultant to style the VIP participants who were actually pitching themselves to the media. So they were being interviewed on an Oprah style TV set. And this video is actually their marketing material. Now, when they get this video edited, they're going to be using it to pitch themselves to the media. So they got to look on point. They got to be dressed as their brand. It is part of their marketing material. So they hired us to style them for that.
Got it. So it sounds to me like any sales organization would be smart to bring you in to speak to their salespeople. So, because
Absolutely.
look, I work with salespeople all the time, and a lot of them simply look like I do, okay at best, most of the time. And if people
Yes.
are judging this, then that would be a good place for you to be. What
Uh-huh.
is Sharp Talk Live?
Oh, yeah, that's my own show. Just like you have a show here, I have that in my Facebook group. It's called Monetize Your Magnetic Masculine. And it's for men who really want to learn these tools that I teach my clients. And I have guest experts, like even you should come and be my guest, to speak about their particular area of expertise and do trainings. So I call that Sharp Talk Live.
How do people find that?
They can just actually, I guess it's on my Facebook page. They can, if they connect with me here on Facebook, but it's Monetize Your Magnetic Masculine Facebook group.
Got it. And I also saw that you have a workshop coming up on March 15th. Three
Yes.
simple and effective strategies proven to enhance your LinkedIn. What's that actually about? Is it what you've been talking about before? How do you
Yeah.
make
Yeah. How to really brand yourself on LinkedIn. I actually am co-hosting it with a branding expert, and he used to be in recruiting. So it's perfect for executives, people who are looking to get promoted, switch jobs. It's also great for business owners. We're going to be giving tips for both on really how to build your brand on LinkedIn and start to get more traction there as well and increase your opportunities.
And Mitch is asking, is that your personal or your business Facebook?
Oh, my personal, Mitch. Mhm.
Okie dokie. Oh, a number of the salespeople I happen to be working with right now are observant Jews. They're Orthodox Jews, so they wear they're not dressing, in the latest fashion. They're wearing black pants and a white shirt all the time.
Mhm.
Any advice for them? I mean, black pants are a black pants and a white shirt is a white shirt. Any advice for how can they spruce up their image? Would it simply
I
be
mean,
buying better quality?
yeah, I would think about quality. I would think about fit. Are your clothes fitting you well? Just making sure these little details are on point. Also, your grooming. That's us the top to toe. Your shoes. What kind of shoes are you wearing? So even though you have, I would say there's more guidelines. We have to stick to with that. You really could think about these other details: quality, fit, your grooming, your shoes, making sure. I mean, this goes without saying, but maybe not. Ironing your shirt, ironing your pants, tucking it in. These type of things, little details that people do notice, and it really matters.
Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
I'm giggling when you said that, but I'm giggling because that's the laughter of recognition. As you know, uh, over my career I've managed a lot of salespeople. I still do it on an outsourced basis, but I can tell you that more than once I've had to take a salesperson aside and say, "Look, you got to do something about your smell. People
Yeah,
can smell
smell.
you." And
Mhm.
an iron shirt does make a difference.
Yes.
Whether you want to wear cologne or not, take a shower, put on some deodorant. If it's not important to you, realize that the person that you're speaking with, unless you're just doing phone or Zoom sales, they're judging you on all that stuff. You
Yes.
talked about that 7% of how somebody understands you is your words, and that's based on a study that showed that
Mhm.
38% is your tone of voice and 55% is your body language. And for
Yes.
that particular study, they didn't just consider body language to be, are you crossing your arms? It included everything like, are your
Mhm.
clothes neat and clean? Can people smell you? Is there corn stuck in your teeth from your lunch or anything like that? So
Mhm.
all the little things do add up. Tavia, once
Yes.
again, we're quickly running out of time. Any last bits of advice for anybody who wants to up their image besides getting in touch with you, of course, and working with you?
Yeah, definitely. Reach out anytime. But I would just really think about it. Just how are you showing up? Are you putting your best foot forward? After this, maybe go Google yourself, see what comes up. And are you happy with the results? Because if not, then it's time to put some effort into it and say, hey, you know what? I got to spruce up my image online because people are Googling you. And you have to pay attention to these things now. So just go do that after this, after this.
And is there anything special that people need to pay attention to when they're selling via Zoom versus face to face?
I would say Zoom, it's just really about making sure you think about what's in your background, your lighting, making sure you're not too dark in the Zoom. You're not doing it in front of your bed. Like these little things matter. You're inviting people in to like it's almost like you're inviting them into the Zoom call. So you have to think about all those things and how you're showing up in the background. So just your can they hear you? There distractions. You have to think about those things when it comes to Zoom. Just the little things that in person are slightly different than our Zoom room.
Got it.
Mhm.
And I'm going to
Mhm.
share my screen. Tavia, if somebody's interested in just chatting with you or possibly working with you, what's the best way to reach you?
Oh, you can just reach out to me directly on my website, styledsharp.com. It's right there, StyledSharp. You can find me on LinkedIn at Tavia Sharp and or any of my social media channels, or just email me directly. Right there is my email.
Perfect. Well, once again, this hour has flown by. Tavia, thank you so much for the day we spent together and for making me look better than I ever have. And thank you for today for sharing your brilliance generously.
Thank
Um,
you, Jeff.
I appreciate it truly. And I'll end as I always do. Please remember, guys, that sales is a game of making things happen. So get out there and make sales happen. Have a great day, everyone, and a great weekend. Thank you so much, Tavia.
Thank you.